Ignite is an ongoing series of speedy presentations. They've ranged from building multi-person pogo sticks to hacking chocolate. Any topic that geeks hold dear. Each speaker gets only 5 minutes and 20 slides that auto-advance every 15 seconds.
Hi guys, how you doing? My name is Blane Bachelor. Yes, Lawrence, wherever you are, that's really my last name. I wasn't nervous until I saw some of the comments on back noise. You guys are brutal, so just be kind and remember it's hard to be up here. So we'll start off by talking about a passion of mine, which is travel. As a first-time Ignite Media presenter, we were told to do something, talk about something that we were passionate about. For me, that's travel. And considering that these days, trying to redeem frequent flyer miles seems to require a presidential order, and people don't have the discretionary income they once used to travel. And also, I know I'm not the only one who thinks the word staycation sucks. I decided to tell you, talk about this evening, how I was able to satisfy my wanderlust on someone else's dime, and I've been able to do that by travel writing. The next set of slides you're going to see are actually from my travels across the world. I've been to 17 countries, some multiple times, which is a good thing, and throughout the United States with someone else footing the bill, which is great for photos to give to friends and family for presents. Some of these photos up here actually also have appeared with my stories as they run as well. But a comment that I always hear from people when I talk about what I do for a living is how do you get to go on these trips? And we'll talk more about that later. But for now, I wanted to talk a little bit more about my background, which I'm ahead of myself, so I'm going to slow down. This is from Trinidad and Tobago, Belize, and Scotland, three of my favorite places in the world. But again, I got to go on these trips because I'm a full-time freelance writer who's eventually kind of worked her way up to doing some travel stories. I write for a number of publications here locally in Atlanta, and also some that appear nationwide. I tell you this not strictly because I'm trying to blatantly pitch anything, which I know is getting bad comments tonight. But yes, I do have a book that's just out, which I am selling tonight, so full disclosure on that. But also to tell you, bring up an important point about travel writing, is that if anyone tells you, pitch, disclosed. If anyone tells you that they are a full-time travel writer, they are, number one, probably subsisting on ramen and tang like in college, or they have a trust fund the size of this guy's ego, or they're Pinocchio, or their last name is Bryson, as in Bill Bryson. It's harder and harder now than ever to make a full-time living just as a writer, let alone a travel writer. Staff jobs are non-existent, and it's almost impossible to do. So that's a little bit of background about that. A question I often get is, how the heck do you get a gig like this? Heck being the nicer way some people always ask it. But like a lot of other things in life, it's a little bit about luck, perseverance, and something called a press trip. The idea of a press trip is basically this. A company, usually a tourism board or some other company in the hospitality industry, will basically fund a trip for reporters, writers, journalists to come to see a place, a destination, to get firsthand experience about it so they can then write about it. It's also called a research trip, a comp trip, and the not quite so flattering freebie and or junket, which, like the word cougar, get a lot of bad press these days. It can be controversial, and there's some reasons behind that. Sort of the theory is that if a writer or a journalist is being paid to go see a place, it's impossible for them to write fairly and to write without objectivity, which definitely holds some water to it. And indeed, it's a pretty controversial topic, and maybe not quite so bad as these guys, but it definitely does stir up some debate, both in the industry and out of it. In fact, there are some publications that have a strict no press trips or no comp policy. And some people do say, yeah, it can be, press trips can be a big can of worms. But the flip side to that is that they also allow coverage of places and destinations and subject matter that probably would not get covered otherwise. I can tell you from firsthand experience from my bank account that writers don't make a lot of money. We wouldn't get to see these places otherwise. Therefore, readers couldn't read about them, and the almighty advertising dollar then probably wouldn't be publishing or buying ad space in these publications. Which brings me to another question I'm often asked, which is, how the heck do you get invited on one of these things? Well, the first most common way is that you have an assignment. You have an assignment from an editor ahead of time that you're going to actually get a story, or sometimes you're sent on the assignment to go cover it. Number two, you have to have an audience. If that's a blog, maybe perhaps a newsletter, those are more common ways that travel writers are sometimes getting their publicity. And you have to also have a clue about how it all works, and no attitude like Ms. Lohan there. Another thing that's very important to remember is that it's not a adult spring break. It's actually you're working. You have to be up early in the morning. You have to actually do your due diligence, do interviews, do research, know your expectations, what's paid for, what's not. Most importantly, know your limits. Full disclosure here on this photo, I took it. It is drinks that I consumed with some journalists during a press trip. We paid for them. It was our last night of the trip. But most importantly, again, you have to remember to keep your wits about you when there's free cocktails and freebies every which way. I'm over. Speaking of alcohol, I'll be at the bar. Toasting myself for making it through this alive. So if you have any more questions about press trips or travel writing, I'll be happy to answer them. And thank you for your attention.